Hi everyone and welcome to a Theme Park Worldwide News Update. Now we all know that 2024 is going to be a massive year for UK theme parks, with so many exciting projects well under construction ready to open next year. However, just over a year ago, the Alton Towers Resort submitted a planning application to build a huge new indoor ride in a brand new show building in a part of the park that hasn't been used for over 30 years, and that is Coaster Corner. Now in this video I'm going to talk a little bit about the project, just to recap on everything that we know so far, but most importantly talk about why we've not actually seen any activity taking place yet in terms of construction on this project. The last thing we heard about Project Horizon was back in February 2023. Of course we're about to go into December tomorrow, so yeah, no construction started yet, and I just want to talk a little bit about why I think we haven't seen any activity yet on this project. So yeah, let's get straight into it then with a bit of a timeline, if you like, looking back at the series of events that unfolded just over a year ago when we first found out that Alton Towers wanted to build something on Coaster Corner. Now this part of the park is actually located behind the world of David Walliams. You got the old theatre just there, which is currently sat empty, just used as storage, but behind there is where this building is going to be. There's been coasters down there in the past, most famously the Alton Mouse, and yes, that's located right by the flag tower. This is the area where Coaster Corner is, and of course where they've got the planning permission approved to build this huge new show building. But we'll go more into the details of the building itself a little bit later in the update. Firstly, I just want to recap on the kind of process that they made. So back in September 2022, that's when we first had it officially confirmed by Alton Towers that they wanted to build something new, something indoors and in that location. And yeah, it was September when we found out about this new indoor ride that was going to be planned, and a public consultation was held by the park. Moving on to November 2022, that's when we got the full details. The full plan application was submitted to Staffordshire County Council, and we know the building size, the exterior queue line location, another building that was going to be attached to it, and lots more information, including a construction time frame, all the details, all the exciting bits, all the boring bits, but most importantly, the fact they wanted to build this massive show building. And you could tell from the size of this building that this is what they want to build, an indoor coaster inside of there. The black hole was always a very popular addition at Alton Towers. I used to love it, many of you used to love it too, and in fact comment down below with your favourite black hole memories. But ever since that indoor coaster left, that of course was located where the Smiler is now in X Sector, there's always been a void in the park, especially for one that you know, has a lot of issues when it comes to noise and height. The fact they haven't got a really good indoor coaster is really surprising. So it was clear the fact that that's what they wanted to build. As much as it was never confirmed that, you know, there's going to be an indoor coaster, that's what you could see from the size of the building, the length of the queue line that was built, and this was going to be a major attraction, and most likely Secret Weapon 9. So yes, November we had that full application go in. However, in December there was concerns raised about the application, but Staffordshire County Council requested that the drainage strategy be updated. So they didn't object to it, but they wanted to see the drainage strategy kind of updated to kind of fit with that more. Along with that too, there was concerns from the locals about the size of the building, the noise that would be created, and more the fact of the location. With it being right on the edge and at the highest part of Alton Towers property, locals were concerned that you would see the building from outside. However, you wouldn't. Even when it's winter and there's no leaves on the trees, the building would still be lower, because actually before the application was submitted, Alton Towers already lowered the height of the building by a couple of meters, which obviously they didn't want to. However, they did before putting the application in. So Alton Towers kind of turned back round and said, we've already lowered the height of the building once, we don't want to do it again. We can't do it because of course what we want to put inside the building won't fit. It's not like we're building a tower block with flats in or something. You know, it's literally a building for potentially a roller coaster inside. You can't keep decreasing the size of the building, else what you want to put in there isn't going to fit inside. You know, if it was like an apartment block or a house, you can make modifications and it'll still work. When it comes to an indoor coaster, then yeah, you know, you need that height, else you're not going to be able to do what you want to do anymore inside there, if that makes sense. Yeah, you can kind of see why Alton Towers were probably quite frustrated about that. However, luckily in February 2023, the planning application was approved. And I'm not going to lie, at the time, I was thinking in the days running up to this being, finding out the results, you know, is this going to be approved? Is it not going to happen? I was thinking it's probably not looking good, you know. Staffordshire County Council have said that. There was objections raised by locals. Historic England were also a bit concerned about the location, with it being close to the flag tower. But yeah, it actually got approved, which I was really happy about, and still am to this day. The fact that Alton Towers has got permission for this massive show building, it's huge, it really is. And before we talk about the stats of the building, you know, the fact they got that permission for this indoor ride in that location was fantastic to see, especially because there was concerns, there was objections, it still went through. And you've got to think, Alton Towers is the biggest employer in this area. So many people visit there from all around the country. The amount of tourism that it brings in, it's always important that the park can continue to evolve and invest. So yeah, it was really good that they got that permission to build this. Now, in terms of the size of the building, a bit of a recap on what we know: 71 metres in length, 46 metres in width, and 19.4 metres high. This is a massive building. It's also got a smaller building attached to it as well that could be used for a station, for a coaster, pre-shows, a baggage hold, all that kind of stuff. We haven't got the details from inside this building at all. All we know is the exterior on what it's going to be. And yeah, also we saw an exterior queue line, and a themed feature will be built on the facade, kind of sticking out facing towards the park. But that wouldn't affect the building all around the back. It would be in darker colours to blend in with the trees. And then from the front, it could be a bit more vibrant because you'd only see that from inside the park itself. Now, let's go on to the kind of, you know, what they said about a construction timeline for this. Now, construction was planned to start in spring 2023, so earlier this year, and expected to take 78 weeks to build Project Horizon, with a total of 2 years for the whole project, including clearing the land and testing and opening, I'd imagine. However, 78 weeks of actual construction taking place there on the site, major construction. Now, say they were to start work today on this project, and by all means they could have started today, you know, I'm back here in the studio. However, you know, highly doubtful, but still, even if they were started today, that would take them through to May the 29th, 2025. Now, of course, we could still see this open in the middle of 2025. However, the original intention, as far as we're aware from our internal sources and based on the application, this was planned to be the new edition for the start of 2025. However, it wouldn't be unlike Alton Towers to open stuff a little bit later. However, is it pushing it a bit fine now for 2025? I think it is. I think this project has been delayed. I don't think it's been cancelled, because I don't think they get permission potentially to build that again. I really don't. I think they'll be grateful they've got planning permission for it. However, there's a few different reasons here why I think this could be pushed back to a 2026 edition. The first option is, unlikely in my opinion, but still an option, this was never planned to be 2025 and was going to be planned for 26 or potentially 27, but more likely 26. However, I don't think this is the case, but still that could be an option. It was never the intention. They've got Nemesis reopening next year. They've got other plans for 25, and it's going to open 26. But however, based on the internal knowledge that we know, and also as well the application that we saw and when it was submitted, this was more than likely going to be a 2025 edition originally. But Alton Towers have opened rides later in the season before, not intentionally, but they have done sometimes. So yeah, it has meant that we've seen like mid-season openings, so possibly that could still happen. However, I think it would be too tight. Like I say, 78 weeks from today would be May the 29th, 2025, almost June, and it said overall 2 years to clear the land and get things going. Now, as we can see from this aerial update, no work has started to clear the land, no construction. At the moment, it's used for a lot of storage. You've got like the waste disposal area up there. There's all sorts stored in that area. You've got shipping containers, you've got skips, you've got lots of general rubbish that just gets chucked there, to be honest, because it's right out of guest view. Nobody knows it's there. So there's a lot of tidying up. Yeah, there's an aerial update from just a few days ago, and you can see that nothing has started in that area just there yet. And that's exactly where this huge building is going to be built. Now, another option, of course, with this is there's been just some kind of changes that have had to be made to the design of it from Alton Towers' point of view, and they've said, actually, we're going to change some things. Let's push it back to get it right. If they're building a project, I think we'd all much rather than push it back and get it right than build something and and get it wrong in terms of the design or just the look of it, or it could be better if they delayed it and didn't rush it, then that's certainly an option as well. The fact that they also originally had to lower the height a little bit, that could have changed the plans for it. So also they've had to make changes because of that potentially. And also another option that we've got here is the fact that, you know, manufacturers building these rides, could there have been a delay from the manufacturer? So we're now having to see this pushed back by a year too. There's all sorts of different options. We're probably never going to know. And the good thing is with this, Alton Towers haven't advertised this in any way. All they've done is put the planning application in. You know, it didn't actually state this was going to be a new for 2025 edition. So as much as it's looking likely to be delayed opening, from Alton Towers' point of view, that doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter to us either. And in fact, it could potentially be a good thing. Now, we all know that Alton Towers hasn't had the strongest of years in 2023. Reliability, general upkeep around the park has been really poor. There could be a chance that this has intentionally been pushed back a year because they've seen that there's other priorities needed. And to be honest, in my opinion, I'm sure a lot of you will agree with this, if Alton Towers were looking at putting in some permanent flat rides to replace the retro squad and putting in some new bits of theming around the park, general updates, would you rather see this new indoor coaster delayed by a year and see this happen for 2025? We know we've got Nemesis 2024, and that's definitely opening next year. You know, testing's going to be starting soon, most likely in January. So yeah, are we going to be seeing them want to work on some other projects now in 2025 before building this, expanding the park as well? It's not like this is just going into an existing area. This is an expansion of the park, more footpaths, more areas to maintain, and a big new ride. I would much rather them sort the priorities out, sort the rest of the park out, put in some new flat rides for 2025, and then get reliability up here, and then have this open 2026, because you've got to think planning applications are normally valid for around 3 years. So yeah, they could start work on this, you know, later in 2024 or spring 2024 to have this as a spring 26 opener. But there we go. That's all we know at the moment regarding this. But like I say, work has definitely not started yet. It was originally supposed to be in spring this year. And even if it started now, that would take us to nearly June 2025. So I think this has been delayed. It clearly looks like it from what we can see. However, you never know. Work might pick up in the next couple of weeks, and the aim for a summer 25 opening. You got to think Alton Towers may have also thought with this, you know, are we going to have issues with the application? Let's get this in early. And it was always planned to be a 26 opening. You know, that's a chance, not from what we've heard internally. However, that certainly could be an option too. So lots of different reasons here why this probably hasn't got off the ground yet. However, not necessarily a bad thing, especially if Alton Towers are working on other things as the 25 edition. Personally, I would delay this by a year, sort the rest of the park out, get it looking spick and span, get a couple of new flat rides in there, and then let's have a big new indoor roller coaster, Secret Weapon 9 for 2026. But let's see what happens. As always, we'll keep you updated here on Theme Park Worldwide with all of the latest news. Lots more coming up on the channel over the Christmas period, Christmas vlogs, news updates, and so much more. And we look forward to bringing you all of that here on the channel. But that leaves me with one final thing to say. Get out there and keep on riding. Thanks for watching.